Hello. Welcome to Zirkzank Says Films Edition. The edition where we discuss films. I put my film watching shirt on. This is my cool shirt, you know. I'm a cool guy, wear a cool shirt. It's part of the thing. And yes, I did just change out of that stupid looking green one. I don't like the way it looks, and I realize that every time I make a video and I think, that looks bad. I don't care that much about fashion, but or style. I care about the way something looks. So if something looks bad like that, I don't want to wear it. But it was comfortable. It's a comfortable thing to wear. Anyway, this is the film special edition. Every edition's a special edition, but this one's specifically about films. Because in my previous episode I said films are shit, and that sucks. Fuck. I'll move my camera there. Oh, that's never been done before. He just moved the camera. You can't do that. You can. I just did. I want to discuss films because I've noticed a lot that films suck. First of all, I'm gonna say these films don't suck. These films here, Dumb and Dumber, funniest film ever, best comedy, best writing, best adventure film, best action. Well, it's not a best action film. It's a really good film. 5 stars. What We Do in the Shadows, really funny. It's about I don't want to tell you what any of these are about. Just say that's a funny film. I think that's the best film ever. The Swiss Army Man, very good, very insightful. Every time you watch it, after having life experiences, it gives you new perspectives. You might say, oh, it's pretentious, it's deep. If you're 13, if you're 12 years old and you watch it, then it's like pretentiously deep or whatever, but it is a good film. The Double. I can't even remember what happens in this. All I remember thinking was, this goes in my top 4 because it was good. What We Do in the Shadows, it didn't fully explain this, but this is a very funny film. It's like a documentary thing. If you don't like that documentary style film, it's not a documentary, it's just like fiction. It's got fucking vampires in. You can tell by you should be able to tell by the cover. So let's get on to what I've watched recently. Let's go over to my diary. But this is a film diary. This is on the website Letterboxd. I should point that out. I've added all the films that I can remember that I've watched on here and tried to give them ratings. It's hard to rate films accurately if you can't remember what happens in them, but I still do it anyway. So recently I watched Ip Man. That was good, actually. That didn't suck. That's a martial arts film about Ip Man. As simple as that. Samurai Cop 2 Deadly Vengeance. It's a sequel to Samurai Cop. I watched Samurai Cop with a group of friends, and it was a really fun experience. We were laughing the whole time at how bad it was. Samurai Cop 2, I tried to watch in the living room with some housemates. They just weren't interested in watching it. They came into the room and left the room several times. And at one point, I looked over. One of my housemates was just sat there with his headphones in on his phone, not actually watching the film. He couldn't hear what I said when I said to him, "Hey, something about this character." I look over and he's not even listening because he has his headphones in. So that experience was not quite the same as the first one. The film is a 1.5 star film, but I liked it. Had a lot of attractive actresses in it, as in like girls who'd fuck. Girls who get paid to be fucked. I mean, it's a career. It's like a respectable career. Being a porn star, or just doing amateur porn, just doing anything like that. If it makes you money, like, why would someone criticize it? It's not even immoral. I fail to see how it's immoral. It's only if you're a hardcore religious idiot. Like, I get being religious, that's fine, but hardcore saying, like, you can't do sex because there's a person in the sky that said you can't do sex. Like, what is that? What the fuck is that? I don't know. And in most of these religions, this isn't my point, but this is a point that someone else has made. You'd think that in most of these religions where they promote being fruitful and multiplying, they would support pornography, because that that arouses people and gets people more into the spirit of reproducing. So surely these fundamentalist, these hardcore Christians, these hardcore Muslims surely they would want people to make porn and watch porn. I don't know. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, went to the cinema, saw this. It kind of sucked. Not sure why. Like, the first one was pretty good. The second one sucked. Neon Demon. This is an interesting one. Had a really good soundtrack, and I put it on because I'm trying to watch like as many films as I can that have Keanu Reeves in. He was in this film, in the Neon Demon. To be honest, I should be like on the pages for each of these as I go onto them. The Neon Demon. Ooh. The problem is, I don't like to read these. I just look at the cast. I don't even look at the genre. So if I'd have known that this film was a horror/thriller, I wouldn't have watched it, because by default, if something is horror as a tag is code word for boring. So if you ever see the horror tag on something, it means boring. It's going to be boring. Don't watch it. It's going to be a waste of time. Keanu Reeves, though. Keanu Reeves films. This is great. This website tells you all the films you've watched of a person. So like, I've seen 15 of 82 films with Keanu Reeves in, which is 18% of his films. The most popular ones primarily, and I have yet to see a lot. Most of them probably won't be that interesting to me. So I figure I'm not likely to get around to it. I don't need to. I think that primarily the action ones are where it's at. John Wick 2, I want to see that. But going back to this, that's what I'm doing. Zoolander 2. Now, this is actually the best film I've seen in a long while. And that's saying something, because I think it might just be the contrast with what I watched surrounding it, but everything else that I watched sucked. Zoolander 2 was really good. I was eating chocolate and drinking hot chocolate and eating chocolate biscuits while I was watching it, and they say that chocolate triggers something in your brain that releases chemicals that makes you feel like openness and love or whatever. So I would have found more appeal in the film than I probably should have, due to the chemical imbalance being caused by the chocolate. But even still, it was a funny film, The film is supposed to be stupid, so the fact that it has lots of cringy jokes, or thing is, I don't know, it's just a type of comedy I like. You say something that's stupid, it's like you think, oh, that's cringy, but it's funny. It's like, it's meant to be bad, it's intentional, and I like that because it's good. A lot of people can't appreciate that. Zoolander 2, though, really good film. Army of One. This is a Nick Cage film, based on a true story, actually. This Nick Cage film. It's about. I don't want to say what it's about. Actually, I do, because it's about a guy who went to kill Osama bin Laden, a American guy. Nick Cage plays him, but he acts him out as if he's crazy. Whereas I feel like the real guy might have been crazy. I mean, they show clips of him at the end, do a little bit of research. That's Gary Faulkner. You can look into it, but it's interesting. Is it interesting? I don't know. It's a 2.5-star film. It's watchable, but not rewatchable. I think it was absurd. It was fun to watch with friends because of how bad it was. Popstar, Never Stop, Never Stopping. The title is funnier than the film itself. Now, this was disappointing because it was the Lonely Island guys, and I fucking love Lonely Island. Like, I have all of their albums. Like, name 3 of their albums. Well, they have like 3 albums, so I just name all of them. But the film should have been good because the guys who wrote it and directed it are very talented and intelligent and funny people. But the film sucked because they actually used a lot of the budget to make it's about pop stars, so they used a lot of the budget on pop stars and making the music that they had in the film very high budget pop music. So it just wasn't enjoyable. they did a lot of the stuff that just happens and expected you to find it funny because of, but that's just how it is. It's like pointing a camera at something and saying, "Look how absurd this is." That can constitute to comedy, but in this particular situation, in this particular film, it didn't. Like it, I just don't understand. Like you need to add more to it than that. Sometimes pointing a camera at saying, "Look how ridiculous this is," that's enough. But in this film, if you're doing that for just like 90 minutes, it's not funny. The film got good towards the end when all three characters were working together, because funnily enough, the Lonely Island as three guys have more chemistry than their Lonely Island when they're all doing their individual thing in the film. I've just spoiled the film for you, but it's a shit film, so it doesn't matter. I take that back. I don't want to preemptively give you judgment into the film. You might want to watch it, but it's not. I figured it would have good music as well because it's the fucking Lonely Island, but instead of having good music, it has pop parody music. Now, they already do like rap parody music, but they do rap parody music that sounds good, whereas in this they did pop parody music that sounds bad. So, I don't know, take what you will from that. Disappointing. Pop star, never stop, never stopping. Never start watching that. It's bad. Grandma's Boy. It's a stoner film. It's about, but it's not really a stoner film. It's about a guy who does weed and makes games. It's a bad representation of stoners. It's a bad representation of game developers. It's a bad representation of yeah, what the fuck? I just noticed this is a 2006 film. It feels like it was a fucking 90s film. Jesus Christ, that makes it even worse. I give that a like half a star less. Nah, I can't be bothered. But yeah, Grandma's Boy, comedy, not that funny. Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, very difficult to watch. Like, the protagonist is an important factor in Harry Potter movies. The characters, the magic, the world. So they ruined the world by setting it in America, in New York. I'm not opposed to New York or America. I just feel like there weren't enough places in here that captured that sort of like magic, tingly essence that the Harry Potter films normally bring. Like, the wonderment, the first time you see Diagon Alley, it's indescribable. And the Weasley's house in the films is just so magical, and I think of another word to say, but this film, everything, I know it's meant to because it's New York, it's meant to feel large scale, grandeur and industrious. So the Wizard Council or whatever they have in this, I can't remember what it's called, but that sucked. It looked stupid compared to like the sort of the chaotic but elegant, those like chaotic elegance in like Hogwarts and a lot of the other magical places. They had character and that they felt magical and unique, whereas this, every setting sucked. It was either just New York City in like the 20s, or it was a magical place that sucked. The main guy has like a special beast place. I hope that's not spoiling anything, but it's like, it's part of the film, so it's not spoiler. That was like the most magical looking place, but it was just different environments, so it wasn't that magical. I don't know. It lacked the magic, and the best thing about Harry Potter films was the magic. Like, the characters that weren't the main three also were very interesting. The world building and the magic itself. That's poorly done in this, so it kind of sucks. It's still kind of cool though, so I give it 3 stars. Warcraft. Now, I like Warcraft. I've played a lot of Warcraft and the World of Warcraft, and well, I didn't play Warcraft. I didn't play Warcraft 2, so I figured watching this film would be a great way for me to get the backstory on Warcraft and Warcraft 2. Except they started at a point where it has characters that nobody cares about. I mean, people care about Medivh, they care about Thrall, and they care about they care about Gromash, they care about Gul'dan. Okay, there are familiar characters in the universe at this point, but the film doesn't capture any of the essence of what I think Warcraft is. It captures it to some extent, where it's magical, it's goofy, and it's absurd and exaggerated. That's what Warcraft is. That's what World of Warcraft is. That's what Blizzard does. With their universes and their characters, they just exaggerate the fuck out of things. This film stayed too grounded, like, almost all the time. There was no people running around with, like, a Thunder Fury Blessed Blade of the Windseeker, which, I mean, because canonically it doesn't, it's not available in this time span, but there were no people running around with, like, these stupid massive weapons and like huge shoulder pads, arguably. But I don't know, the only things that were really exaggerated were, like, the orcs, and I think that's what everyone says. Everyone said the orcs were pretty good. The humans sucked. Well, what do you expect? I mean, the Horde's better than the Alliance. That was a joke. Don't dislike the video. In fact, do it if you want. I'm going to stick by the Horde. Loktar Ogar. Trainspotting. Oh yeah. Trainspotting 2 came out in cinemas. I heard this was a good film, so I watched it, and it was. That's about all I have to say on that. It was a good film. Logan. Well, let's go back to Trainspotting, actually. It was a good film because it was funny, and it transported me to a world that I forgot existed and that I didn't know existed. Trainspotting was nostalgic for some reason. It just felt nostalgic, which is kind of weird because I never lived in 90s Glasgow or 90s London, so it was weirdly nostalgic for whatever reason. Logan, I already did a review on this, but let's to reiterate, it's a sad film, but it shouldn't be because it's about fucking Wolverine. That was my criticism. It's a bullshit argument, but whatever. Edge of Tomorrow. This was a fun film, Tom Cruise film, where it's a Tom Cruise action movie. The ending sucks though, because it ends the way that you expected the entire film to be. You expect the entire film to just be like mindless action. It's not. It's pretty clever action, but then the end is just mindless action with, like, are they gonna do it? Are they gonna succeed? Obviously, they're the good guys, you know. It's bullshit. Repo Genetic Opera. Have I ever reviewed this? I feel like I have. That's a shit film, but I watched it because at the time I was watching it with somebody who said it was the best film ever, and that I had to watch it, or that it was not the best film ever, that it was their favourite film, and that it was hilarious. So I give it a chance, give it 2 stars on here, because it's not something I can rewatch, and it's not something I can ever recommend. End of the Tour. I gave this 5 stars because at the time I was really into a lot of David Foster Wallace stuff. I mean, I even bought where is it? There we go. I bought this David Foster Wallace book, Infinite Jest. It's a very long book. It's very thick, and I haven't read it yet because it's not very interesting. But I watched a bunch of interviews with David Foster Wallace, and I liked a lot of the things he said. So then I watched this film, which is based on the author David Foster Wallace, and it was a good film. It had an actor that I like in it, which is I forgot his name because I got Jesse Eisenberg. That's it. Jesse Eisenberg. Well, I've seen 27% of his films. Man, he's not been in that many films. Yeah, but Jesse Eisenberg was in it, which made it okay. The other guy was cool too. The guy who played David Foster Wallace. Jason Segel. Shawshank Redemption. That's a pretty good film, in case you haven't heard. I don't need to explain what happens in this or what it's about. It's just a good film. Grand Budapest Hotel. Once again, I didn't know what to expect with it. I expected it to be a sort of drama slash comedy, but it was more of like an action adventure film, surprisingly. So that was fun. Rogue One, probably the best Star Wars movie. I just hated the way it ended. It's like, for whatever reason, despite all the stuff with like diversity and feminism and all of the shoehorned bullshit, Rogue One was good. Now You See Me 2, it's a sequel to Now You See Me. This should have been called Now You Don't, but like that's not an original joke, by the way. Everyone says that. It should have been called, so you go, Now You See Me, and now you don't. But you can't do that because you have to put the same title but 2 at the end, which makes me wonder why people don't put 1 at the beginning. So it's like Now You See Me 1, Now You See Me 2. You know, that's how they should call all films. Call it 1, even if it's not going to have a sequel. So you got like Signs 1, or Shawshank Redemption 1. That would, Shawshank Redemption 2, just him living life. Swiss Army Man. Already discussed this at the start. Brilliant film. Yoga Hoses. I watched this. I've already discussed this, but I said I watched it because the guy that made it, I saw him on the Joe Rogan show talking about it. It's a film he made for his daughter. Kevin Smith made it. Oh, I didn't talk about it. I made a review about it. You could read my reviews over on letterboxd.com/Gleemanlord if you ever want to check them out. Yoga Hoses. He said that the target audience for it was teen girls, but there's something in it for everyone, maybe. So I gave it a chance, and I agree with him. There's something in it for everyone, maybe. Like, there were some bits that I found funny, but overall, I was not the demographic. Kevin Smith himself said so I'm not gonna give it a low rating just because of that. Doctor Strange, that was fucking awesome. Like, you can tell the better a film is, the more simple my review becomes of it. Like, Doctor Strange was just really good, visually and character-wise. Like, the comedy was good in Doctor Strange. Surprisingly, I didn't think it was going to be a comedy film. It was quite funny. The magic looked cool. I just fucking love magic, though. So, like, having a film that's basically almost entirely magic, that's fucking cool. And, like, universes and shit, space, in a magic film. Whoa, fucking hell, slow down. That's like sci-fi and fantasy colliding in the best ways, because you're cutting out the worst ways. B-movie, I don't need to go into this. This is fucking hilarious. I love B-movie. Three Musketeers, sort of generic. Not bad, not good. Give it 3 stars. Zero Theorem, same thing. It was interesting. It was long. Visually, it was very good. Like, you can't criticize the visuals of this film unless it's not your aesthetic, but there was always like just so much shit on screen to look at. And that's about my review. Before the Flood, this is not a film. This is like a documentary where that pretentious guy goes around, this guy DiCaprio, this rich Hollywood actor, who goes around telling people that they need to go green. Like, I support renewable energy. Let me just make this clear. I support renewable energy. But this film is kind of like it's kind of like somebody punching you, you know. So it comes off quite as like, I'm better than you, you're shit, the people that you know are shit, and it's an insult film, basically. It's like it brings, like, I mean, what the hell, look at the cast here. Leonardo DiCaprio, Bill Clinton, John Kerry, Barack Obama, Elon Musk, Pope Francis. It doesn't look like the cast is like a real cast. It just looks stupid. But for whatever reason, this is on. If you still fucking deny climate change after watching this, go fuck yourself. See, now that is right. This guy's review perfectly summarizes the plot of the film. It doesn't allow for criticism. You can still deny climate change. You can deny the man-made effects of climate change. You can deny the severities of climate change, and you have to. If you're going to be genuinely scientific about it, you have to take both approaches. You have to take the for and against approach and do research to back up both cases. You need to have that. You can't just say like, well, we've just decided now as a community that this is the way things are. Let's never do any research into it ever again. No, you have to doubt everything. That's how science fucking works. So this stupidity and the fact that this is the top review, this isn't a review of the film, this is insulting people. This is saying go fuck yourself if you don't like the film. If you don't agree with the film, go fuck yourself. You know, that attitude is just embodied throughout the entirety of this. So I can only give it 2.5 stars because it was very, very interesting to watch. Django Unchained, good film. I hate Tarantino films, but of his films, this was like the best by far. Like, good action, good characters, world building, okay. And then all of the Tarantino shit that he does with like mixing up the story and like doing the stupid music and a lot of the cringe that I have associated with Tarantino's stuff that's like his decisions as a director just really break my immersion when I'm watching the film and will remind me he's doing this to be pretentious, and a lot of fanboys and fangirls are just gonna say, oh, he's such a genius, and it ruins the film because it ruins the flow of the film whenever he does something that just takes me out of the film and I remember, oh yeah, this was a director's decision for him to do this on purpose. Now I've just thought about that. Now I'm not watching the film. Now I'm thinking about watching a film, and it's just fucking annoying to have that when you're trying to get immersed and invested into it. Hateful Eight, same thing. It's a Tarantino film. He does the same bullshit where he shows you like 2/3 of a film and then shows you what happened at the beginning of the film, but at the end instead. It's cool, it's edgy, but it's not. It just ruins the flow of the film. And it's like, why didn't he put it at the start? Because he knows if he opened with it, it might have been stupid, or he had to hide it from you so that you'd think that there was more depth to it than there actually was. The point is, he's created a bunch of stuff that makes you ask questions and discuss it, as opposed to just watching the film and forgetting about it. I understand what's going on there, but it's not necessary, and it makes me rate the film lower. Star Trek Beyond. Now, get back to simple films that are easy to watch. This was a cool action sci-fi film. Give it 4 stars and a like. Good, solid film. Star Trek films, really good. Better than the TV shows. I'm going to take a drink of water because this is long. Samurai Cop. Already talked about the sequel to Samurai Cop, but Samurai Cop the original. This is a fucking great experience to watch. It's a very bad film, that's why I give it 1 star. The film is nothing like what this picture is representing. There are no people who look like either of these characters in the film. To be honest, this isn't even set in the same city. Yeah. Watch this though. It's a good example of a good bad film. You like The Room. American Ultra. Another Jesse Eisenberg film. It has Kristen Stewart in as well, who is also very good and very. So Jesse Eisenberg and Kristen Stewart are the main characters in this film. I know what you're already thinking. You're already cringing. That is not a representation of what the film is like. The film is once again just Jesse Eisenberg playing the Jesse Eisenberg character, except it's an action comedy, as it says here. It's an action comedy. They have to tell you that in the bio, otherwise you wouldn't get that by watching it. I hate these stupid fucking summaries. They ruin the film. Don't watch trailers, don't watch summaries. Ruins films. Batman vs Superman, Dawn of Justice. This was cool. Wonder Woman being in this made it good because Wonder Woman's hot. And I'm looking forward to the new Wonder Woman because she's hot. Take that, feminist fucking dumbasses saying that that the new Wonder Woman film isn't being promoted well enough when it is being promoted about as much as any other film gets promoted, or maybe they just know that it's not going to do as well as a film that is called Batman, oh massive guy, Superman, massive guy, Superman versus Batman, what, they're fighting, you know, that's epic. Wonder Woman, not so much. People just don't care about Wonder Woman as much, so you don't put as much into advertising it and forcing it down people's throats. It's just marketing. It costs money to advertise, and I don't see the criticism. Predestination, this is another one, good film. I'm not going to say what it's about because it'll ruin it, but you can probably determine by the title that it's about time travel, except time travel films suck. This one doesn't suck just because it's about time travel. You can suspend your disbelief because it's funny. It's a funny film. Children of Men, I heard a lot of good things about this. Too bad everyone who said good things about it was wrong. It's bad. Moon, very good film. It's about a guy on the moon. I mean, you can tell that by like don't right. Here's a thing you can do. Never read this shit. Do not read. Never read the things. Just look at the title of a film. Look at the title of a film. Look at the year it was made, and look at the poster. But don't read the bio or the trailer. Bio, the synopsis. Don't read the summary or watch the trailer. You look at the thing. It says here, moon. There's a guy, and there's a circle in the background. Is that the moon? It's probably the moon. There's darkness surrounding him. You can already determine it's about a guy who is basically, he's surrounded by a void of nothingness. That's the emotion that it's conveying. The posters do a better job of describing what the film is going to be about than this, and they don't give away plot points, which is very important. They don't ruin the film for you. They just make you think the atmosphere. In fact, looking at the pictures is a better way to get a description of a film. Like Basketball, for example. Fucking hell, this is hilarious. Because it has these guys in it, and they have like such good chemistry. It's not surprising that Trey Parker and Matt Stone have good chemistry because they've been writing South Park together for like, I don't even know how long. It's been like 50 years so far. So these guys really, really good in this film. I don't think they wrote it, but I know that they ad-libbed a lot of their lines, and you can usually tell that you can tell the lines that weren't written by them because they're kind of like generic, like 90s comedy cringe, but then the lines that are original Trey Parker and Matt Stone stuff, which is funny. And these guys are great, but they're not even actors. It's great. Watch Basketball if you've not seen it. It's funny. Cloud Atlas. I can't even remember. Oh yeah, this is like 6 films. That's not a spoiler. You can see from the cover that it's 6 films. It's set across eras of time. It's sort of about, I think, the consequences of time, and it's interesting. It's six nested stories spanning time between the 19th century and a distant post-apocalyptic future. Cloud Atlas, blah 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 blah. Don't read these, and don't read this shit. Everything is connected. If this was on the poster, like it said there, Cloud Atlas, everything is connected. It said it like that, then or there, everything's connected. Cloud Atlas, then you could read it, but it's not there, so don't read it. Interesting film. Can't rewatch it because the only reason I thought it was interesting is because I didn't know what the fuck was gonna happen next until I caught on to what was gonna happen next. In which case I thought they could do a switcheroo. They could always do plot twists, and they didn't. But the fact that it kept me guessing was interesting enough, and I like that experience. They kept me guessing. Interstellar. Don't need to say much about this. Has a fucking amazing soundtrack. Like no joke, the Interstellar main theme and variations of it are just fucking phenomenal. It's just a good sci-fi film, visually, scientifically, and emotionally. Above everything, it's an emotional film. It's a drama that just so happens to coincidentally also be set in a sci-fi realm, but it's primarily about the bond between parent and child and love. There is a cringy bit in it which I'm even gonna spoil. Like the spoiler, like the spoiler will be over in like a few seconds. But the guy is looking for something. Oh, okay, this isn't even a spoiler. The guy's looking for something in the film. He can't find it. They ask, "Oh, how did you find it?" He said, "I found it because of love." Now, that is the only criticism I have of the film. And if my only criticism of the film is that it had a line where he says he found it because of love, that's not a fair criticism. The film's fucking great. Like, you can find stuff from love, or you can feel, like, the way I interpret it is, it's a very, very intelligent, very, very talented man in the film says that he found something because of love. Well, he's not a scientist, so to speak. He's a jet pilot, so it's like he can think that love has an influence on his actions. Doesn't necessarily mean that the film is suggesting that it does. So, really good film, really great world building, great visuals, great soundtrack, great acting, good film. Interstellar is fucking great. Like, everything by fucking Nolan is great. Let's go and see. Like, I don't think he's made any bad films. Where's the... Oh, here we go. Christopher Nolan. Let's see, I've seen 7 of the 13 films that he's made, and they're all fucking great films. Like, I haven't watched any of the rest of these, but I probably will at some point, because Memento, great film. Batman films, well, people have a lot of issues with the Batman films. There are a lot of problems with the Batman films, the Dark Knight series. However, when you watch them all back to back, when you're immersed in the films and you're not having somebody point out all of the problems, they're just really immersive visually, and you can get sucked into those worlds, and they're really good films. Until somebody points out, oh yeah, well, look at this, also look at this, and then you think, yeah, you're right, the film sucked, but it doesn't suck while you're watching it. Now, that's an important thing I have to say, that Christopher Nolan creates phenomenal experiences that are good while you're watching them. You can pick them apart afterwards, but it doesn't matter, because he creates good, solid experiences that are fucking insane in the moment. And yeah, like that's what I felt with every film. Inception, Interstellar, Memento, Prestige, Batman films. There's not that many on here, but the point is, everything that he's directed has been a good film. So his directing skills are probably good. He's probably a good director if that happens to be the case. Departed, that was a good film. Good twists and characters and shit. A Good Day to Die Hard. Get it? If you die hard, it means you die with a boner. I did not get a boner watching this film. Oh, Jesus Christ, I didn't even know that was a... That's terrible. Yippee-ki-yay, Mother Russia. That explains why this is a 1-star film. The Social Network. I was expecting this to be shit, but it was kind of good. I'm getting very thirsty. Now You See Me. 1/2-star film. Complete dog shit. Don't even need to waste time on it. I can't remember why it was bad, because I tried to erase it from my mind. Oh yeah, the magic in the film is just... It's post-edited magic. Right, okay, so you don't explain magic in, like, as in real life doing tricks and magic, it ruins the illusion. But in this film, they did stuff that it's sort of like, is this magic or is this just people doing film stuff? People editing a film in a certain way that it's like, real magicians couldn't do this. Or real magicians could do this, but it's like, it's very hard to appreciate this film, so I give it half a star. Ghostbusters. Yeah, surprisingly, I hadn't seen this. I hadn't ever seen Ghostbusters. Got around to it, and it sucked. Captain America: Civil War. Have I reached the point where I've already reviewed all of these in another episode of Zirkzank Says? I can't even remember. But yeah, that was page 1 of 5 pages of my film diary. The Star Trek films are good. No Country for Old Men, that was okay. It was interesting. X-Men Apocalypse and Civil War. Ghostbusters, this was a disappointing film. People have said so many good things about it, and there are so many pop culture references to it. I figured it was going to be good, and it wasn't. It was difficult. The acting is bad. Despite what people say, Bill Murray is a bad... oh shit. People responded to my... People actually responded to my review for the first time. I said, may have watched it too late after its release, but the acting was bad, the pacing was slow, and the VFX were obviously not great. So the VFX not being great is fine because it's a film from 1984. The pacing being slow, that's not excusable. That's just sucks. The acting being bad, once again, there were good actors alive in the 80s, so don't give me any of this bullshit. The jokes in it weren't funny. The visuals weren't great, and the pacing was bad, so it's hard to enjoy the story. So let's see what this guy says. Go back to watching Michael Bay movies then, you'll enjoy them a lot more, methinks. Well, I like Michael Bay films, some of them. I can't remember actually what films I have seen by his. Let's see. Oh, I responded to this. I just can't remember because this was this was last year. I don't know. If that was last year. Fucking Million Ways to Die in the West. This is another one. If people are giving this really low ratings, but I gave it a reasonably high rating. Look, people are saying 2 stars, half a star, 1 star, 2.5 stars. This was a funny film. The jokes were hit and miss. So there are bits that are funny and bits that are not funny, but the bits that are funny enough that it's funnier than most films. So it was a good film. I liked it. I gave it a 3.5 stars. A lot of people seem to not have liked it. Whatever. It's a film. It's a movie. It's a cinematic experience. That's what the good old the movies do. Anyway, this is a fucking almost 40 something minutes long. All I've done was just give my opinion on films. And if anyone was interested in that and thought that was a good thing to do, that was worth my time, give it a like. If not, I don't care. Look, I got one of these fucking spinner things. Do you know how cool this is? Do you know I'm the coolest person ever now? This helps me with my this helps me cure my autism. On Amazon it says this thing cures autism, anxiety, ADHD. It's for adults, children, women, girls, boys, men, lifestyle, hobbies, interests, sports. It's just the title for spinners on Amazon is just a bunch of keywords for search engine optimization. So I don't even know what to make of it. All I know is that it's nice to have to spin around. I spin this constantly. So think what you will about this stupid fad, but I don't care that it's a fad. I have this. It will stop me from biting the inside of my lip, biting my fingers and stuff. It already has. My fingers have improved. Oh, I need to cut my nails. Yeah, my fingers have improved because I've stopped biting them. It's fidgeting, picking at my skin because I've got a spinner instead. It's helpful. So fuck you guys for saying that it's a stupid fad. You're just trying to be edgy. It's not working. You suck. Kill yourself. Take that back. Don't kill yourself, because I got in trouble last time I said that. Until next time.